Want to have your clip featured in the Skyrim Clip of the Week? Simply record the clip on your Xbox and then send it to me via message. My gamertag is iRyeni, that's IRYENI, and you can message it to me over Xbox and I'll be able to view it. I look forward to seeing the clips that you guys send me. Now moving on to the video. Hey, what's up guys, it's Ryan and welcome to another episode of Modded Monday. We're on week number 130 now guys. I've picked out 5 new mods for you guys to check out and perhaps add them to your load order if you find them interesting. So let's just jump straight into it. Starting off at our number 5 spot, we have the Lanterns of Skyrim 2 mod. Now I actually covered a mod in the past that was actually in the previous load order video that was Lanterns of Skyrim. And I'm excited to announce that Lanterns of Skyrim 2 is a completely redesigned version of the old Lanterns of Skyrim. This new edition includes many improvements and additions, more compatibility, improved light sources, snow-covered light posts and lanterns in snowy areas for a more immersive experience. All lanterns are moved by the wind, and much more. This mod also features specific light posts and lanterns for each region, a huge variety of lanterns for cities and settlements, flying insects around lanterns, and light posts are positioned to take advantage of existing nav meshes when possible, to avoid pathing issues for creatures and NPCs. There are also dynamic lights that react to the sunlight, and some have faction banners on them at the borders of every region. There's also some improved light sources, and it replaces candles with improved models for lanterns. There's also static lanterns carefully placed to avoid visual conflicts with animated clutters, such as barrels. Now this is a huge step up from the old Lanterns of Skyrim that was only a couple kilobytes, but this has been upgraded to 240 megabytes, so this could be a pretty steep mod to download if you have a huge load order. But then again, if you do have the 240 megabytes of space, this is definitely a mod that I would recommend downloading. It's a lot more immersive, and you'll have a lot more light whenever going around and traveling and actually exploring the roads, and combining this with other night mods that make the nighttime a lot more vibrant, this could be a perfect mod to put alongside that. And that's definitely why this mod comes in at our number 5 spot, so I'd recommend downloading the Lanterns of Skyrim 2 mod. Coming in at our number 4 spot, we have the Adamant, a perk overhaul. Now the mod page reads that Adamant is a streamlined perk overhaul designed to enhance every aspect of your Skyrim experience. It thoroughly overhauls the game's 18 skill trees in order to provide the player with compelling choices and smooth progression from start to finish. While Adamant does increase the total number of perks in the game, it avoids bloat, sprawl, and power creep by balancing its selection of perks around vanilla perk gains. Like many modern perk overhauls, it provides support for popular gameplay styles that are underutilized in the vanilla game, such as shouts, staves, and unarmed combat. In order to build off the mod author's previous work, you require to have the Mysticism, a magic overhaul, to be installed. I'll also link this in the description right above Adamant so you'll be able to install them hand in hand. This allows the new perks to be introduced and have support spells such as Viper Bolt, Reflective Light, and Silence in the most straightforward way possible. This mod features a complete overhaul of all 18 perk trees, balanced around vanilla perk gains, and a popular feature such as magic scaling and unarmed support. There's also sneak archers that are more powerful than ever, it's lightweight and compatible, and it's almost entirely scriptless, leaving no impact on performance. Now I really like this mod not only because it's a perk overhaul that adds a whole bunch of new perks into the game to completely remaster the way that you play, it's also a lot more simpler than big perk mods such as Ordinator. I'm sure many of you that are into Skyrim modding have heard of the Ordinator perk overhaul mod, and that features 400 new perks into the game, which can be kind of overwhelming if you're going in with a new style and you don't really know how you're going to play yet. With Adamant, a perk overhaul, it's not too expansive, you know, it adds a complete overhaul to all of the perk skill trees, but it's not like a entirely new 100 perks added here, 100 perks added here. It's just like a couple here, a couple there, just like a little bit of a rework rather than a complete expansion. And I think that's really great because it keeps the vanilla aspects and it keeps it a lot more balanced and a lot more focused towards the vanilla aspect of playing. And also with this mod, including the Mysticism magic overhaul, you'll have a complete balance to all of the magic in the game as well, so there's really nothing that goes wrong with this mod, and that's why it comes in at our number 4 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Adamant, a perk overhaul mod. Coming in at our number 3 spot, we have the somewhat historically accurate weapons and Viking gear. The mod page reads that this pack includes historically accurate and lore-friendly weapons and armors. As of version 3.0, this mod adds 36 new weapons, 56 new shields, which are made from 28 different shield styles, each in light and heavy variants, and 33 new armor pieces into the game. These can be used by males and females, and since the armors do not show much skin, they should be more or less compatible with most of the body mods. It's also important to note that this mod is completely standalone, so no other items items in the original game will be overwritten. The meshes are optimized with a 2K texture, and all of the weapons can be crafted and tampered. And to craft the item, you'll need to know the correct crafting perk and have the needed materials in your inventory. In addition, there are crafting books for every weapon, just to add a little bit more of an immersive side. You can keep the correct book in your inventory when you want to craft a weapon, otherwise the item will not show up at the forge. And a sharpening wheel can be used to improve the weapon twice as much, and crafting books are not required for the tempering part. I really think that this way of crafting is interesting because having to have a book on how to craft the weapon makes it so that it doesn't just jam-pack your entire list of steel weapons to craft with a bunch of weapons that you won't plan on crafting anytime soon. You know, I always find it kind of annoying that you'll scroll through a huge list in your smithing station and you'll pass up like a ton of stuff that you aren't able to craft for such a long time just to get to something that you want. This makes it so that you have to have the book in your inventory as well for it to show up in the crafting table. And don't worry, you also don't have to go out and find all these books, they're automatically added to your inventory. It just makes it so that your menu in the smithing station doesn't get too cluttered. And I think that's really awesome, and I think that is a perfect way to implement all these weapons into the game. And as you can see, as I'm showcasing all the armors here, they look absolutely badass, and there's a ton of different things to choose from. A ton of different armors, a ton of different shields, and weapons to use and kill your enemies with. And I think that's perfect, and that's definitely why this mod comes in at our number 3 spot, so I strongly recommend downloading the somewhat historically accurate weapons and Viking gear mod. Coming in at our number 2 spot, we have the Poison Spells mod. This mod adds poison as an element like fire, frost, and shock, without ruining the vanilla experience and immersion, with a unique visual and sound effects. This mod features 7 new poison spells and 4 new perks added to the destruction and enchanting skill tree, along with 4 new conjuration spells, a new shout, leveled loot, NPCs, and recipes. Now the spells that are actually included with this mod include the novice version, which is Poison Bite, which is a burst of poison that does 6 points of poison damage per second. Next up, we have the apprentice version, which is Poison Bolt, which is a bolt of poison that does 20 points of poison damage. It also causes 1 point of poison damage for 15 seconds. And then another apprentice spell, we have Poison Rune, which targets that fail to resist take 40 points of poison damage. And then moving on to the adept level spells, we have Poison Cloud, which gives your character a cloud of poison that does 30 points of poison damage for anyone in a 15 radius. And then we also have the Poison Cloak, which for 60 seconds, opponents in melee range will take poison damage. And then moving on to the expert level spells, we have Intoxicate, which causes a powerful bolt of poison that does 50 points of poison damage. And then there's also Wall of Poison, which, when sprayed on the ground, it creates a puddle of poison that does 40 points of poison damage per second. And then the master spell is Poison Blast, which is a blast of poison that does 100 points of damage in a 100-foot radius. That is absolutely insane to me. And those were all spells from the destruction skill tree. If we move on to the conjuration skill tree, we have an apprentice level conjuration spell called Conjure Poisoning Familiar, which summons a poisoning familiar which will charge into battle and explode. And then the adept level version, we have Conjure Skeleton Alchemist, which summons a skeleton alchemist for 60 seconds wherever the caster is pointing. And then for the expert level spell, we have Conjure Poison Atronach, which summons a huge poison Atronach for 60 seconds wherever you're pointing. And then the master level spell, we have Poison Thrall, which summons a poison Atronach permanently. Now I was able to find these poison spells simply by talking to Farengar in Whiterun, but you can also go to the College of Winterhold and purchase them there. Now this is a complete overhaul to all the magic in the game simply because it adds an entirely new element. You know, you already have fire, frost, and shock, but now we have poison. So it's a complete rework of how these spells work in the game and the options that you can choose from whenever trying to figure out what type of character you want to have. And that's definitely why Poison Spells comes in at our number 2 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading it. Coming in at our number 1 spot, we have the MARKARTH Origin mod. Now the mod page reads that with a massive temple player home, an immersive overhaul of MARKARTH, Origin will bring a new dimension to your game. MARKARTH Origin fills the middle and lower tiers of the city. Some other mods will be compatible, including the people of Skyrim 2, which this mod was made for. The temple and player home of MARKARTH Origins is found under the waterfall and is an integral part of future The People of Skyrim projects, which I'm going to be showing you here in a second. The MARKARTH Origin is also a lightweight mod that has no scripts, no exterior nav mesh changes, and only a transition for the interior of the temple home. So now I'm going to be giving you guys a tour of the huge player home that this mod has to offer, so let's begin. So as you can see, MARKARTH has been completely reworked, and the temple player home that is featured along with this is one of the most beautiful player homes and most open player homes that I've seen in a while. You know, you have a huge room for all of your crafting stations, and a huge array of different types of display cases and way to display all the stuff that you find in your travels. And coming in at 1.12 megabytes, it's a very small mod that does a lot of big things. And that's definitely why this mod comes in at our #1 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the MARKARTH Origin mod. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode of the Top 5 Skyrim Mods of the Week. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe if you're new. It really helps me out a lot. And if you have any suggestions for mods you'd like me to cover in future Top 5 mod videos, be sure to let me know in the comment section below, or you can follow me on Twitter. I'll be sure to leave my Twitter in the description, and you guys can follow me on there and leave me suggestions to there as well. Special shout out to my Patreon supporter. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will talk to you guys later.